The spacecraft hovered silently above the pale, greenish surface of the planet. Its hull shimmered in the weak light of a distant star, and the human pilot, Dr. Mara Ellis, stared out of the viewport with a mixture of awe and determination. She had traveled across half the galaxy to reach this place, driven by the chance to uncover something truly extraordinary. Her mission was simple in words but daunting in reality: investigate the ruins of an ancient alien civilization, rumored to hold knowledge far beyond humanity's understanding. As the landing gear touched the ground, a soft rumble shook the cabin. Mara adjusted her suit and checked her instruments. The air was breathable, though thin, and her sensors indicated traces of advanced technology scattered across the landscape. She exhaled slowly, feeling the weight of anticipation pressing on her chest. Every step she took on the alien soil felt like a step into history itself. The ruins spread across the horizon like a city frozen in time. Towering structures, sleek and metallic, glimmered faintly under the dim sunlight. Some seemed almost organic, like they had grown from the ground rather than being built. Strange symbols were etched into every surface, and Mara's eyes traced patterns she could not yet understand. She activated her translator and began recording her observations. "Nothing like this exists in any human archives," she murmured. "It's beautiful and terrifying." As she ventured deeper into the ruins, a soft hum filled the air. Mara paused, scanning her surroundings. The hum seemed to resonate from the largest structure ahead, a tall spire with a smooth surface that reflected the light in unusual patterns. She approached cautiously, noting the faint vibrations under her boots. Her fingers brushed over the surface of the spire, and suddenly, a light flickered to life. A holographic projection appeared before her, shimmering like a pool of liquid light. The figure was humanoid in shape but clearly alien. Its features were elegant and sharp, with glowing lines running along its body that pulsed with energy. Mara's breath caught. She had expected ruins, artifacts, maybe some automated drones, but not this. "Welcome, visitor," the figure said in a voice that was soft, almost musical, yet clearly intelligible. "You have come seeking what lies beneath." Mara blinked. Who are you?" she asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I am a guardian of knowledge," the hologram replied. "Long before your kind reached the stars, we observed the universe and collected its wisdom. Few have earned the right to witness it. Few have curiosity strong enough to reach this place." Mara swallowed hard. I am Dr. Mara Ellis. I study ancient civilizations. I want to understand your technology, your knowledge. Humanity is ready to learn." The figure tilted its head as if examining her closely. "Curiosity is the first step," it said. "Yet understanding requires more than desire. You must prove your worth, for the secrets here are not given lightly. Many have come before and failed." Mara's pulse quickened. What do I need to do?" The hologram extended a hand, or what appeared to be a hand, and the surface of the spire shimmered and shifted. Suddenly, a doorway appeared where there had been none. A faint light spilled from within, and Mara felt a strange pull, like the building itself was inviting her to enter. "You will enter the tests," the figure explained. "Each challenge will reveal your courage, intelligence, and empathy. Only those who succeed may reach the heart of what we guard." Mara nodded, taking a deep breath. She had faced challenges before, but nothing like this. She stepped forward, the doorway closing silently behind her as she entered a vast chamber filled with intricate patterns of light. The walls seemed to pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat. The first trial was immediate. Panels of light shifted along the floor, forming complex geometric patterns. Mara realized she had to navigate them in a specific sequence. One wrong step could trigger a failure mechanism, though she had no way of knowing what would happen. She studied the patterns carefully, recalling mathematical theories and logic puzzles from her training. Slowly, she began to move, each step precise and deliberate. Hours seemed to pass in moments as she concentrated. Every instinct, every piece of knowledge she had acquired over years of study came into play. Finally, with a final leap across a gap of light, she reached the other side. The panels pulsed brightly and then vanished. A doorway opened ahead, leading her deeper into the spire. Mara exhaled, her muscles trembling with the tension. She wondered what awaited her next. The hologram appeared again, floating silently beside her. "You demonstrate intelligence and focus," it said. "But understanding requires more than mind, it requires heart." The next chamber was different. Instead of puzzles, it presented scenarios. Mara was faced with holographic simulations of alien beings in distress. Some were trapped under debris, others facing hostile environments. She realized that her choices would influence the outcome. She hesitated at first, unsure if interacting with projections could have consequences, but instinct drove her forward. She helped the trapped figures, finding ways to manipulate their surroundings safely and efficiently. As she progressed, the holograms shifted. They presented more subtle dilemmas, decisions without clear right answers. One simulation involved choosing between saving one life over another, testing her moral judgment and empathy. Mara felt the weight of each decision deeply, but she acted with careful consideration, weighing each possibility. She knew that failure here might not be about death, but about revealing a lack of humanity, something the aliens would not accept. Hours passed, or maybe days. Time felt distorted within the spire. Mara began to notice subtle changes in herself. Her awareness heightened, and she felt a connection to the structure around her. The walls seemed almost alive, responding to her presence. She realized that the trials were not merely tests. They were teaching her, shaping her understanding of life and intelligence beyond her own species. Finally, she reached a chamber filled with crystalline structures. They glowed softly, casting reflections that danced across the walls. In the center floated a sphere of light, swirling with colors that seemed impossible to describe. Mara approached cautiously. The hologram appeared once more. "You have shown courage, intellect, and empathy," it said. "Few humans have reached this stage. The sphere contains knowledge that can elevate your species, should you be ready to accept it. Yet understand this: the wisdom of the stars is not a gift to take lightly. It carries responsibility." Mara nodded, feeling the enormity of the moment. She reached out her hand toward the sphere. As her fingers brushed the surface, a rush of information flooded her mind. Images of alien worlds, advanced technologies, and complex philosophies streamed through her consciousness. She saw the rise and fall of civilizations, the cycles of growth and decay, and the boundless potential of intelligent life. It was overwhelming, yet exhilarating. Mara realized that humanity's future depended not just on technology, but on the choices her species would make. The aliens had tested her to ensure that only those capable of understanding the weight of knowledge could carry it forward. The chamber shifted again, revealing a doorway that led outside the spire. Mara stepped through, carrying not just data but a profound sense of purpose. The alien hologram's voice echoed behind her. "You have begun a journey that few can imagine. Remember, curiosity is the spark, but wisdom must guide the flame." Outside, the ruins stretched endlessly across the horizon, and Mara looked at the stars above with renewed determination. She had glimpsed the heights humanity could reach, and she knew the path ahead would be filled with challenges, discoveries, and wonders beyond comprehension. As she returned to her spacecraft, she felt a subtle but undeniable change within herself. The planet, the trials, the alien wisdom, they had left an imprint on her very being. Mara knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity had taken its first real step into the wider galaxy, guided not just by ambition, but by courage, empathy, and the insatiable curiosity that made them human. And somewhere in the distance, the alien observers watched, silent but approving, knowing that this human might one day inspire others to follow the path she had begun. Mara adjusted her instruments and prepared for takeoff. The stars beckoned, vast and infinite, and for the first time in her life, she felt the weight and promise of true discovery. She had survived the trials, learned from the wisdom of an ancient race, and now carried the hope of humanity with her. As the spacecraft lifted off, Mara glanced back at the spire, the light from the crystalline sphere fading into the atmosphere. She knew she would return one day, but for now she had a mission: to share what she had learned and to inspire humanity to reach for the stars, not just with their technology but with their minds and hearts as well. The journey had begun, and there was no turning back. Humanity had awakened to a greater universe, and the echoes of curiosity would guide them into the unknown. Mara's spacecraft cut through the thin atmosphere, leaving the pale green planet behind. The data cores hummed softly in the cabin, filling her mind with fragmented images and schematics from the alien ruins. She had expected discovery, yes, but not this. Knowledge surged in her mind like a river breaking its banks, and yet she felt calm, focused, determined to understand it all. The alien wisdom was unlike anything humanity had encountered before. It was not just science or technology, but philosophy, ethics, and strategy interwoven with mathematics and energy theory. Mara spent hours, then days, parsing what she could, recording her notes, running simulations, and cross-referencing with human knowledge. She realized quickly that the aliens had thought in layers. One solution could hold multiple meanings depending on how it was interpreted. As she worked, a faint vibration ran through the ship. Mara's instruments detected a signal emanating from deep space, not far from the planet she had left. She activated the external scanners and widened the spectrum. The signal was deliberate, patterned, artificial, almost like a message. Her pulse quickened. Whoever or whatever had sent this signal had detected her presence. It was not hostile, but it was unmistakably intelligent. She adjusted the coordinates, following the signal's subtle pulse. Hours later, the viewfinder revealed a colossal alien vessel floating silently in orbit around a gas giant. Its hull glimmered with the same energy she had felt in the ruins, and it was clear that the vessel was older than any human-made object in existence. Mara's hands shook slightly as she prepared a message. She identified herself, her mission, and the planet she had visited, then transmitted it with careful precision. The response came almost immediately. A beam of light touched the surface of her ship, and a hologram appeared in the cabin. This one was different from the Guardian she had seen before. It seemed more deliberate, more curious. Its eyes, or what seemed to serve as eyes, glowed faintly, studying her every movement. "You have accessed knowledge few have seen," it said. "Yet your understanding is incomplete. The ruins were but an introduction. True insight comes from interaction, observation, and choice. Will you accept an invitation to learn further?" Mara hesitated only a moment before nodding. "Yes, I want to learn. Humanity must learn." The vessel extended a docking beam, and her spacecraft followed it inside a massive hangar. Mara's breath caught as she stepped onto the alien ship. It was enormous, far larger than any human design. The corridors glowed softly, with walls that pulsed gently, almost like they were alive. Every surface seemed to respond to her presence, adjusting in ways she could not yet understand. She was led to a chamber larger than any cathedral she had seen. In its center floated a sphere of light, similar to the one in the ruins but more complex. It rotated slowly, and within it swirled visions of alien worlds, stars being born and dying, and civilizations rising and falling. "You have passed the first phase," the hologram said. "Now begins the second. Here you will observe, make choices, and interact. Your actions will shape what you take from us, and what we judge you worthy of sharing." Mara approached the sphere cautiously. A holographic interface appeared around her hands, and she realized she could manipulate it. She reached out and touched a cluster of swirling energy. Immediately, she was shown a vision of a distant world under siege. Intelligent beings struggled to survive against environmental catastrophes, not unlike humanity's early history on Earth, yet far more extreme. Mara's mind raced as she analyzed the situation. She could intervene, she could manipulate the simulation, but she had to choose wisely. She spent hours observing, testing outcomes, and learning the logic of these alien civilizations. Each scenario presented challenges in morality, strategy, and survival. She began to see patterns. The aliens did not merely value intelligence, they valued judgment, empathy, and the ability to balance competing needs. They were testing not only what she knew, but what she was. During one simulation, Mara encountered a situation that shook her deeply. A species was facing extinction, not because of natural causes, but because of its own internal conflicts. Mara's mind raced as she calculated potential solutions. She realized that even the most intelligent interventions could fail if they did not consider the emotions and instincts of the beings involved. She chose a path that allowed them to resolve conflicts internally, while offering subtle guidance through environmental adjustments. The simulation ended and a soft glow radiated from the sphere. "You have learned patience, understanding, and subtlety," the hologram said. "Yet there is more. Observation alone is not enough. You must act where action is needed." The next phase was unexpected. Mara was transported, through a virtual interface, to a world far from the alien vessel, a planet teeming with life. Here, she could interact directly with alien beings in real time. She was invisible to them at first, observing their daily lives, their struggles, their joy, and their fear. She saw how they worked together, how they solved problems, how they celebrated victories and mourned losses. Then came the test. A natural disaster struck, a massive storm, unlike anything she had experienced even on Earth. Mara could manipulate environmental variables to help or hinder the aliens. She hesitated. The wrong move could cause devastation, but inaction could do the same. With steady hands, she guided wind currents and stabilized energy flows to protect the most vulnerable. The aliens noticed the changes as subtle shifts in their world. They felt something beyond explanation, a guiding presence. Hours passed in this simulation, though it felt like moments. The aliens began to respond to her interventions in ways she had not predicted. They learned, adapted, and grew stronger because of her guidance. She realized that the aliens observing her were testing her ability not just to act, but to inspire growth without control, to empower without domination. Finally, the sphere drew her back to the alien ship. She felt exhausted, her mind racing with the weight of knowledge and experience. The hologram regarded her silently for a long moment before speaking. "You have done well. Few humans would possess the patience, empathy, and insight necessary to succeed in these trials. Yet the final stage remains. You must integrate what you have learned and demonstrate that humanity itself is ready to rise to greater heights." Mara understood immediately. The final test was not about her, but about what she represented. Humanity had always been curious, often reckless, sometimes compassionate, sometimes selfish. She carried the hopes, flaws, and potential of her entire species. The alien trials had shown her the depth of what could be achieved if intelligence was paired with morality and empathy. The sphere shifted once more, displaying a vision of Earth as it might be in the future. Advanced cities, thriving ecosystems, peaceful cooperation between nations, and humans working alongside other intelligent species in the galaxy. The vision flickered, showing alternative paths: war, environmental collapse, and stagnation. Mara's heart ached as she realized the responsibility she bore. The choices humanity made in the coming centuries would determine which path unfolded. The hologram spoke again. "You have been judged, not only as an individual but as a representative of your species. Your actions have shown that humans possess the potential for greatness. Yet potential alone is not enough. It must be realized. Will you take what you have learned and guide your people toward it? Mara nodded, determination burning in her eyes. Yes, I will. Humanity will rise, and we will learn from what you have shared. We will honor the wisdom you have given me. The chamber glowed brightly, and the sphere dissolved into streams of light that flowed into her mind, merging with the data she had already gathered. She felt an incredible surge of understanding, technology, philosophy, strategy, and compassion all converging into clarity. She now understood not just alien technology but alien thought itself. You have succeeded, the hologram said, fading slowly. Remember, curiosity is eternal and knowledge is infinite. Guard it well and share it wisely. We will observe but not interfere. The future is yours to shape. Mara returned to her spacecraft, carrying the immense weight of responsibility. The alien vessel receded into the distance, leaving her alone in the blackness of space. Her mind was alive with plans, ideas, and visions for humanity's future. She knew she could not reveal everything she had learned. Not yet, but even fragments of it would accelerate humanity's growth in ways previously unimaginable. As she set her course back to Earth, Mara reflected on what she had experienced. The alien trials had tested her in ways she had never imagined, and she had emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined. Humanity had potential that even she had not fully appreciated until now. The galaxy was vast, and humans were only beginning to understand their place in it. The journey ahead would be long and difficult, filled with challenges both internal and external. Mara knew there would be skeptics, rivals, and obstacles, but she also knew that humanity could rise to meet them. The spark of curiosity she carried within herself had been ignited into a flame that could illuminate the path to greatness. As Earth appeared on her navigation screens, a blue and green jewel suspended in darkness, Mara smiled. She had returned not just as a scientist or explorer, but as a messenger of possibility. She would share what she could, guide when necessary, and inspire when possible. The future was uncertain, but it was hers to help shape. And somewhere in the distant reaches of space, the alien observers watched silently, confident that the human they had tested had the wisdom to guide her species toward the stars. The galaxy was waiting, and humanity was ready to step forward. Mara's spacecraft pierced the thin atmosphere of Earth, the blue-green planet sprawling beneath her like a fragile jewel. Every inch of her mind still carried the alien lessons, the visions, and the wisdom she had gained. She had returned not just with data, but with understanding, an insight into what humanity could become. The knowledge she held was powerful but fragile. It needed careful guidance, or it could be wasted. She sat down in a remote research facility far from any city, away from prying eyes. Her colleagues, brilliant in their own right, were stunned to see her return safely. Mara barely noticed them at first, her mind racing with calculations, plans, and visions of the future. The aliens' teachings were already shaping her thoughts. Over the following weeks, Mara began to share fragments of what she had learned. She focused on the principles that humanity could act on immediately: energy efficiency, environmental repair, and ways to improve technology without risking harm. Her colleagues marveled at her ideas, noting insights that would have taken decades for human science to uncover. But even as excitement built, Mara kept the larger vision to herself. Some knowledge, she realized, could not be revealed all at once. Humanity had to grow into it. Mara also began to notice subtle changes in human behavior around her. Those who listened carefully, who engaged with her ideas thoughtfully, began to demonstrate new ways of thinking. Collaboration replaced competition, empathy grew alongside intellect, and the spark of curiosity seemed to spread. It was as if the aliens' influence had not been limited to her mind, but had reached the collective consciousness in some way. One day, As she examined a simulation of sustainable energy systems, her instruments detected a faint signal in the upper atmosphere. Mara's pulse quickened. The signal carried the same subtle pulse she had encountered near the alien planet, the unmistakable signature of intelligence. She traced its origin and found that it was not a threat. Instead, it was a beacon, an invitation. The aliens were watching, evaluating humanity's first steps. Mara realized then that the tests were not yet over. They had given her guidance, but the ultimate measure was how humanity responded. She would not act alone. She needed to inspire, to show her species that greatness was possible. She prepared a presentation for the world's scientific leaders, sharing concepts in renewable energy, space travel, and problem-solving methodologies, all framed in ways humanity could understand and implement. The presentation was unlike anything the world had seen. Mara demonstrated designs that seemed impossible yet feasible, models that solved problems humans had wrestled with for generations. Skepticism was natural, but the logic, the clarity, and the elegance of her solutions silenced most critics. Governments, corporations, and academic institutions began to adopt her ideas, experimenting, testing, and expanding upon them. Humanity's pace of growth accelerated almost overnight. As progress unfolded, Mara continued to feel the subtle pull of the alien beacon. One evening, standing on the observation deck of her research facility, she watched satellites orbit Earth and thought of the alien civilization far away. She realized that their trials had prepared her not only to learn, but to teach, to guide, and to inspire. It was not about the technology alone. It was about the way humanity could think, act, and grow. The months turned into years. Humanity began to explore space with new confidence. Colonies were established on Mars and the moons of Jupiter, but this time they were guided by principles of balance, cooperation, and foresight. Conflicts were minimized through better communication and understanding. Innovations in medicine, energy, and environmental restoration transformed Earth itself. The world was changing, and Mara could feel it. She knew that the aliens' choice to trust a human had been the spark that ignited this transformation. Yet, not everything was simple. Rival factions emerged, those who wanted to exploit technology for power, those who feared the unknown, and those who doubted the necessity of collaboration. Mara faced these challenges directly, demonstrating through diplomacy and reasoning that progress required unity and foresight. Each challenge was a test, echoing the trials she had experienced within the alien spire. She began to see a pattern. The universe had not only tested her as an individual but humanity as a whole. One evening, as Earth rotated slowly below her, Mara received another signal from the alien vessel. This time, the hologram that appeared was different. Its form was more defined, more alive, and its presence was comforting yet commanding. "You have begun well," it said. "Humanity shows promise. Your species has curiosity, ingenuity, and the capacity for empathy, yet potential is not enough. You must continue to grow, to make choices that reflect wisdom and responsibility. The galaxy watches, but it will not interfere further. The future is yours to shape." Mara listened carefully, understanding the weight of their words. She knew that humanity's actions in the coming decades would determine whether the species could join the ranks of advanced civilizations or falter under its own limitations. The aliens had given guidance, but they had not removed responsibility. That responsibility lay entirely with her and those she inspired. Determined, Mara traveled across Earth, consulting with leaders, teaching young scientists, and guiding humanity's steps in space exploration, energy development, and environmental stewardship. Slowly, the influence of her lessons spread beyond her immediate circle, creating a ripple effect that reached governments, organizations, and eventually the general population. On one clear night, Mara stood atop a mountain and looked up at the stars. She imagined the alien vessel watching, seeing her work unfold, and perhaps feeling satisfaction. The galaxy was vast, filled with civilizations both advanced and fledgling, and humanity was only beginning its journey. She realized that the aliens' trials had been more than tests. They were gifts, showing her species the potential for greatness while emphasizing the responsibility that came with it. In the years that followed, humanity faced crises, diseases, natural disasters, and internal conflicts, but Mara's teachings endured. People had learned to collaborate, to innovate, and to act with foresight. Technology advanced, yet it was tempered by wisdom. Exploration continued, yet it was guided by ethics and care. Humanity began to understand that true strength came not from domination, but from balance, understanding, and compassion. Eventually, Mara returned to space, visiting colonies on distant worlds, advising interstellar missions, and observing humanity's expansion. She saw young scientists and explorers who embodied the very principles she had learned from the aliens: curiosity, courage, and empathy. The galaxy seemed less daunting when humans acted not out of fear or ambition alone, but with wisdom and understanding. One day, while examining a remote star system, Mara received a final message from the alien observers. The hologram appeared, its form radiant and serene. "You have done well. Your species has shown the capacity for greatness. Continue to learn, to grow, and to guide. Remember always that knowledge carries responsibility. You were tested and you have passed. The universe welcomes you as a young civilization capable of shaping its destiny." Mara smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. The journey had been long, and the challenges were far from over, but humanity had taken its first real steps into the wider galaxy. She knew that many more trials would come, both from within and from the unknown beyond, yet she had faith in her species. Humans were capable of greatness when guided by curiosity, courage, and compassion. As Mara gazed out at the stars, she realized that the true gift of the alien trials was not knowledge or technology, it was understanding. The understanding that intelligence alone was not enough, that wisdom and empathy were equally vital, and that humanity could rise to meet the challenges of the cosmos. The galaxy awaited. Mara knew humanity was ready, not perfect, not invincible, but capable. The journey was just beginning, and she felt the thrill of possibility deep in her heart. Every step forward would be a testament to human ingenuity, resilience, and the spark of curiosity that had first drawn her to the alien ruins. And so, as humanity reached for the stars, guided by the wisdom she had brought home, Mara's thoughts returned to the alien vessel, distant yet ever watchful. They had trusted a single human to represent her species, and that trust had not been misplaced. The future was uncertain, but it was alive with promise, and humanity was ready to meet it with courage, intelligence, and heart. The universe stretched endlessly before them, a canvas of endless opportunity. And humanity, for the first time, truly understood that they were not merely passengers in the galaxy. They were participants, creators, and explorers capable of shaping their destiny. Mara's journey had begun alone, but now she saw that it would continue through countless others, guided by curiosity, wisdom, and the drive to reach further than ever before. As she prepared for her next mission, Mara felt a quiet sense of triumph. The trials had tested her, shaped her, and transformed her understanding of what it meant to be human. She had become a bridge between her species and the greater universe, a living testament to the power of curiosity and the responsibility that comes with knowledge. And somewhere in the distant reaches of space, the aliens observed silently, confident that humanity would rise to meet its potential, guided by the very principles they had nurtured in Mara. The stars called, and humanity answered, stepping boldly into a future filled with discovery, challenge, and wonder.